we are proud to welcome you into a fun Friday edition of The Meltdown, as Apple has officially apologized for an advertisement they produced to promote their new iPad. While we have all seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, we haven't yet seen what it will do this weekend at the box office. How big will it open? We will discuss. And Lunce's list profiles 5 on-screen performers that could never quite break through to becoming the megastar that they may have been expected to at some point within their career. It's all happening right here on The Meltdown, as it's presented by MyBookie and broadcasting live from the Culver studio.
2 big boys in a tiny studio, teaching you and me about everything they know to make sound a meltdown. It's the meltdown, time for the meltdown, coming for the meltdown. Let's start the show.
You are now entering the world of Meltdonia, and you're on a one-way ticket to fun on this Friday. I am Tim Melton, your host. Was that too aggressive? Did that sound too aggressive? You liked it?
It was interesting.
I delivered it with a sense of sincerity. We appreciate you being here. If you have not already, please subscribe to The Meltdown. We'd love to have you as a part of this journey as we're looking to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the summer season. My co-host, the other half of this production, is Mr. John Lunceford. John, how excited are you for EA Sports College Football to come back?
So excited.
What, over a decade now?
Since 2014, so that actually was 2013.
So over a decade,
Yep.
about 11 years, I guess.
It's been a hot minute.
And we got our first look today at what the deluxe edition is going to be packaged as. And there it is in all of its glory. I think this thing's actually happening, John.
I think it's actually happening. They put a countdown out that's going to get to 5 days or so from now. So sometime or middle of next week, I guess we'll get they said they've been teasing May for like the full release of like, we're going to show everything to you. And they put a countdown out with this one. And the most interesting part of this one, though, is going through and seeing all the names on the back of the jerseys of the people that are on this. Quinn Ewers, Donovan Edwards, running back from Michigan, Travis Hunter there at Colorado, Jalen Milroe making his name on there, Carson Beck, and Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State, used to be at Ole Miss from Pike Road, Alabama, actually. But those are the names that are on there, so I'm assuming they're getting a little more for having their name on there, because obviously that was the crux of killing it, was them not getting paid. Everybody's getting paid $600. So I assume they get a little more for being on the cover. I don't know.
Don't they get a copy of the game too?
Then you get a copy of the game. So
that right there is
$670, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've also heard that this isn't confirmed. I haven't seen any confirmation of this, but I have seen rumors that there will be multiple covers for the different regions. So most likely for this area, Jalen Milroe would be predominantly centered.
I'm assuming that's why they chose these different ones. So here will be Jalen Milroe, Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, Louisiana, maybe that kind of area will be Quinn Ewers. Travis Hunter will handle West Coast. Quinshon Judkins will handle Big Ten country. Carson Beck, I guess, can handle like Georgia up to the Carolinas, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's how it'll be, maybe not. But they did not release the actual like cover athlete, because I had heard that's what they're going to do too. When they said multiple, I thought it was going to be like you could get a Jalen Milroe one, you could get a Carson Beck one as opposed to this, but maybe this is what they meant. I don't know.
How much do you think a Nick Saban covered game would sell in physical copies within the state of Alabama?
A lot. And honestly, I thought
that would have resale value.
It would. Because when Mark Ingram was on the cover, that was
2012, I think.
Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, it was when I was in school in Tuscaloosa, because I went to the Best Buy there. Massive appeal there, obviously going to get that one at midnight when it came out.
Which is why GameStop ended up number 1 on your list of things that used to matter on your list.
Fun fact, though, I actually went to Best Buy for that one, even though there was a GameStop down the street, because it was easier to get into Best Buy. But that was a big one. And, with NBA 2K, I feel like they do it more than anybody else, where they'll have like 3 editions, seems like. And they'll do Kobe. I think it's Kobe, the one they did this year, on their biggest edition.
Their legends.
Michael Jordan, those kind of people that you put on there, that you do a GOAT edition and put Nick Saban on there, that you will sell a ton of copies. And depending on what you get with it, I mean, it's an easy $100 sell that it's $70, I guess, to begin with, because that's what the base price is for big games like, AAA titles now that, you put Saban on there, charge 30, 40 more bucks, people will easily buy it and, give you a few extra points to use on your Ultimate Team that doesn't exist in NCAA, but we've never had an NCAA, so I don't know.
What is the date of this release again? Because it is July. This is coming out.
Yes.
But I don't have the exact date at my fingertips, and I was hoping that maybe one of you knew off the top of your head, but
that's a good question. I don't know if we have
an
an exact date.
But I did look up NCAA 12. We got Mark Ingram.
There you go.
Hey.
There we have it.
So it would have been 2011. Yeah, that would have worked out right. I don't know if they've said the exact date.
We don't have an exact release date. So this thing's not happening now? I got my hopes up again?
Well, that's all coming.
Oh, gosh. I'm so nervous. This is the most anticipated game in a long time.
May 16th. They teased this. They put the trailer out like 2 or 3 months ago, like kind of a teaser trailer. There's a guy sitting in the Rose Bowl, like putting sewing jerseys and stuff while talking, and they showed some clips.
Yeah.
And they teased, hey, May, because they actually had like their official Twitter accounts and everything that said, hey, in May, we're going to do like a big reveal. And they put a counter out going to May 16th. So we'll have that on the Meltdown on May 16th.
Another thing I wanted to talk with you about today, John, is a movie that just dropped on Max. It's a film that we talk about a lot here on the show that it's one of our favorites from last year. It is The Iron Claw making its streaming debut officially on Max today. This is definitely one of those movies you'd recommend people check up on this weekend if they haven't seen it already. But for those that are not aware, John, this is not a happy-go-lucky film.
This is not a happy-go-lucky film. This is one of those, and I'm willing to admit I'm a lover of pretentious movies. And this is one of those that probably falls under that category a little bit. It's a depressing movie. I'm also a fan of depressing things as well, which probably says a lot about me. I don't know. But The Iron Claw is very well done.
I don't know. Do we follow up with that, or do we not show any concern?
Go name all the stuff that I love. That's what it is. I don't know.
I don't know what the better friend move is here. Do I go like, John, let's talk a little bit more about your sadness, or do I just go like, we're going to let that fly under the radar?
Yeah, saying that with y'all and my wife in the room. Anyway, how's everybody doing today?
We're great. Let's
The
not
Iron
be
Claw is
sad.
depressing,
It is.
but Zac Efron's very good. And I thought he was the best actor last year. And Jeremy Allen White, we debated Jeremy Allen White yesterday, but he is very good in this as well. Everybody is good in this except whoever plays Ric Flair. Even I will agree with that. It didn't take me out of it quite as much as it took Tim out of it. Lily James is good in it also.
Worst Ric Flair impression ever.
Holt McElhaney is good in it. Highly recommend, especially if you're into wrestling. And the thing it did for me is I've never cared about the early days of wrestling. For me, it was
Territory days.
Attitude Era till now that I've cared about. But it kind of gave me a new respect for the territory days of people coming into a territory, that territory going out when they go to Japan and stuff like that, that it's kind of fascinating to see that play out.
Laurel Lunceford is here for those who have not already recognized. There she is. Laurel, thank you for being here on this fun Friday.
Oh, no, I'm so excited. I'm ready. What would you say when we started the show, that this is like we're on the roller coaster?
Something like that.
No, we're
One-way
on the roller
ticket.
coaster to fun.
Yes, and I am excited you're here, and I know The Iron Claw is a movie that you saw last year, obviously being an A24 fan, obviously being a Zac Efron fan, obviously being a wrestling fan. This had to check a lot of boxes for you.
I did. I honestly thought that he was going to have like a surprise nomination. I knew he wouldn't win, although I thought he had the best performance last year. But I was shocked that Jeremy Allen White nor Zac Efron, who I've like grown up, I like loved him. His face does look a lot different now, but I know he's had some surgeries and they've kind of gone through that. But he played this part perfect. And again, it is depressing. It is sad, but I feel like it kind of ends on a positive note.
Well, I talk about the Iron Giant always making me tear up. This is an ending that that's an ending that kind of gets you as well.
The ending is
it's happy because it's depressing. I mean, that's weird to say, but because of the events that happen, and it kind of does put a smile on your face at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a good movie to watch. It's
Definitely.
worth watching.
Producer Tyler is back here with us. Tyler, you spent some time at the movies last night.
Yeah, I did.
Now, I promise you this, if you don't already know from the channel, no one will be able to guess what Tyler went to go see last night. But
Did
we are
they know
going to
you at the
unveil that
theater
now.
now?
What's that?
Did they know you at the theaters now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. Good.
He's back.
What did you go see last night, Tyler?
I went to see Not Another Church movie, and this has Kevin Daniels, Jamie Foxx, and Mickey Rourke. and it's a parody of all the Tyler Perry projects throughout the years. So
And you
think
were-
Meet the Spartans, but Tyler Perry.
How many other people were in the theater with you?
Not a single soul. I could walk around, stretch my legs, do whatever.
So I don't want to see that movie, but I do want to see security recording of you watching that movie completely alone, and I will then sync it up with the movie, and I want to watch that experience because I didn't know this thing was a thing that existed until you said you were going to see it, and then it sounds like you got a private theater experience with it. So normally that costs you a lot more to have the private theater, but congratulations there, Tyler. You wouldn't recommend this movie?
No. If you have a sort of like nostalgia for the early 2000s parody disaster movies, wait until it hits streaming to watch it.
Okay.
But other than that, no, I wouldn't recommend it unless you just want to watch a bad movie for the sake of watching a bad movie.
Rockstar's back here with us, and we love having Rocky
Thanks, guys.
with all of his quick wit and his coolness. And my
Cool
question
guy.
to
I'm the
you
cool guy.
is, absolutely, Rocky, you also went to the theater last night, but you saw a very different type of movie.
I went to a very warm theater, a very anti-AC
It's hot in
theater
there.
to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
At least the movie's not long.
No, Tim, you're wrong. Trailers. Movies time 6:45. Start time 7:28. I had high expectations for this film. I won't do any spoilers, but I was not impressed. I'm not going to give it a 1, but it was not. It looked pretty. CGI was great. The story just sucked.
It's a surface level experience. I wanted something deeper with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes for sure.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Would it deter you at all of seeing this movie if the hot girl was replaced with like Danny DeVito? Like, what does
That
that?
would be an odd casting
That's
choice.
an interesting change.
That would make me more interested. Yeah, I'm with Tyler. I would be more
but like
interested.
this, what
How did Danny
purpose?
DeVito survive all this time?
What purpose besides being a pretty girl? That's what kind of upset me. It's just like, what? Why does it have to be a pretty girl?
I think that they feel like it's an easier movie to market if there's some
Yeah, but
eye
she's.
candy
I don't.
on
Do
the
you know
screen.
who? Like, is this her first? I don't know anything about it. Is this her first
I
movie?
don't know anything about her either.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you is you thought that she sucked.
No, she didn't suck. I'm just talking about like it's weird. It just baffles me. The coolest thing I saw was in the background when he's talking to his mother. Noah's talking to his mother, and you see in the background there's monkeys playing with like a soccer ball. It's one of the cool. Like they're playing something with. There's like 6 monkeys playing with the ball. I was like, that's cool. The movie wasn't a fan of it, but little tidbit, which is crazy. Noah, the lead monkey, who's played by Owen Teague, and Proximo Caesar, who is played by
Kevin Durand.
Yes.
Kevin Durand. I have played music in front of them and actually had several conversations with Owen Teague. Kevin Durand guy's tall, right? He's a big guy, right?
Are you thinking more of Kevin Durant or
Yeah, plays basketball.
right.
But they were
he
both
is kind of tall, I think.
Yeah, at separate times they were staying at the Redmont. Owen Teague was filming Into the Viper with Josh Hartnett, and I remember talking to him, super crazy shy guy, and it's just crazy now that guy is playing Noah from Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and this other guy is playing Proximo. The same, probably a month apart. I've played music in front of them and talked to one of them.
I have a theory.
Go ahead.
Kevin
that I'm
Durant is
working on.
6'6".
There you go. Thank you, Tim.
Sorry, I just thought maybe
I mean,
you were gonna-
Kevin Durant's a few inches
Kevin
taller,
Durant
but
joke.
yeah.
I have had a couple of movies where I have decided I'm going to skip the popcorn experience, right? I'm going to make some better choices in my life, and I'm going to go right into the theater. I don't need the popcorn. And one of those was for Civil War. We know how that turned out for me. I hated that movie. Another one was for The Fall Guy, which became my least favorite movie of the year. And I decided I was going to test the theory of whether or not popcorn was the thing that I needed to get myself into a headspace to really enjoy a movie. And so I said, with this being one of my most anticipated movies of the year, I don't need popcorn here. I'm going to enjoy the movie regardless.
Oh, no.
And then it came in about 2 stars under what I thought it, or 1.5 stars under what I thought it would
still probably
end
said 2
up
stars
at.
the way you're talking about it.
Well, there you go. But it disappointed me. I mean, regardless of me thinking it was a fine film, it's fine. It disappointed me for sure.
It was
with my
just very. It
expectations.
was.
And I wonder if the popcorn is correlating here.
I think you have to.
I ate the devil out of the popcorn.
That makes the experience.
I ate a bunch of popcorn only because I ordered like 3 different things that they didn't have, so I had to eat
So
Laurel's popcorn.
they checked my credit score and I passed, and I was able to buy some popcorn and some water. But it's just a predictable story. And I loved Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Was not a fan of War of the Planet of the Apes, but this one,
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't impressed.
It's doing well so far at the box office. 6.6 million in previews so far, which is really good compared to Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which had 4.1. War for the Planet of the Apes had 5 million in early previews, and Rise of the Planet of the Apes had 1.3 million in previews. So it's pacing itself really well here. It's projected to make between $50 and $55 million in its opening weekend. And I'm looking at the slate, and I'm not sure that If is going to be able to knock this off next week.
No, word of mouth of not another church movie. It's going to come in.
You think so? You think that's what's going to happen?
I think The Strangers might end up doing well. I really do.
I don't think If is going to do it, but I think between The Strangers, between If, and between Back to Black, that'll have just little bits of appeal, all combined, could end up making just the drop. It may still be number 1,
Right.
but the drop still be pretty significant.
Right. I'm just talking about how long will it remain number 1. I think it'll remain number 1 until Furiosa and Garfield movie come out, and I'm not sure what the box office is going to look like. Like, what's going to be number 1? Is it going to be Furiosa for sure, or is Garfield?
I think it's going to be. I think Garfield's got it locked
probably
in.
Garfield.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's close only because Furiosa gets all the big screens, but probably more butts and seats for Garfield.
Because
But I don't
summer
know.
and kids.
Yeah. If I want to stay on that theory for Despicable Me being the highest grossing movie of the year, I kind of have to do it with Garfield on a Memorial Day weekend too.
So The Fall Guy is in theaters currently and has a chance to pull in more female audiences, especially this weekend. But next weekend, while If and Back to Black and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, while they'll all be out in the theater, one of its biggest competitors, Laurel, and you tell me if I'm way off here, but I feel like for The Fall Guy, one of its biggest competitors is going to be Bridgerton dropping on Netflix. Because people, especially females, may say, I'm going to stay at home and watch Bridgerton compared to going out and seeing this Ryan Gosling vehicle.
I feel like Bridgerton is still big. I don't think it's as hyped up as like the other two, especially the first season. People love the first season. None of those people are even on it now because I know the girl's name is Phoebe something.
It's like contract disputes, right?
Yes. I think they basically left because the main guy, his name is Renee something. But they basically left because it's like, oh, this show is super successful, so I'm going to start this big career.
Regé-Jean Page.
Yes, and
who was on my list to be Bond, by
have
the way.
not really been successful at that. And these all come from books, so I think you can kind of see like where the story's going. I remember how hyped up people were for the second season, and I think people liked it, but I think it definitely has died down. I think it will do good because it's, like you said, it's Bridgerton. There's a lot of people that are really invested in it, but
I mean, it's on Netflix too, and everything gets a great click rate there.
But
on
also,
Netflix.
people are like addicted to like watching it in one sitting.
Right.
So like, are people going to come home from Friday from like work and like just binge the whole thing and then have Saturday and Sunday free? Or are they going to take several days to do it? It seems like everyone just sits down and watches like the TV show within the first because it gets spoiled for you. Everyone goes online and they already have spoilers. So I don't know if the rest of the weekend will free up for that.
We talked about The Bear season 3 yesterday, and they're dropping every episode of the season on Hulu all at once. I'm sure, John, you're, no pun intended, eating that up.
Yes. We did not do it with season 1. I don't remember if season 1 dropped all at the same time or not. Part of me wants to say they didn't.
I did not. I don't
season
think.
2 did, and we watched like a couple episodes at home and instantly went on vacation whenever it came out. It was
So
like
4th of
June
July.
sometime. So we went on vacation, and then on vacation we binge watched the whole thing to kind of it's like we got to watch it. We started watching it. It's so good. We got to keep watching it, and ended up finishing the whole thing. So it'll be a binger for sure.
If you've already watched Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, by the way, we have our spoiler review up here on the channel. Join us there for that conversation as I try to figure out what quadrants are. It's a fun time and really
That's only
exciting.
got 3 quadrants. Yeah.
Yes, math, not my forte. But I do have 3 things that I want to get into specifically with Laurel that are right in your wheelhouse. I feel like you'll be a fan of where these three things go. Let's start with number 1. Today I booked my tickets to The Strangers Chapter 1, which oddly I feel like will hurt my soul as a movie experience, but it's one that I want to participate in. Like, I'm excited to be hurt. And I want you to explain to me if that makes any sense to you as a follower of the horror genre, because I'm not sure John truly understands what that feeling is like.
The first one was really good. I mean, I know when it came out, Sean, did you see the first one when it came out?
I thought the first one was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool idea. The second one, I think was it not like pretty much, no.
Like 10 years later, the second one comes out.
It took them 10, that's what I don't understand. How did they have 15 Paranormal Activity movies? Like in the span of like every year coming out, but it took 10 years to make that movie.
The Strangers didn't make as much money as Paranormal Activity. Like I'm guessing it wasn't like a thing. Like we made $100 million. We got to make.
But there may have been some sort of rights issue because the rights now belong to what was a person that was just a fan of the first movie that's producing these back to back to back over the course of 9 to 12 months.
I think
what I'm guessing real quick, it is a non-popcorn movie for Tim Milton. You will not enjoy it.
No, I think you need to have popcorn. Because it's a horror movie.
Tim's going into this one like, I'm going to hate this movie. Like, I just know it's going to happen.
I think you might be
So he needs to get popcorn. He
surprised.
needs to get popcorn going in.
That's the number one thing I want to be.
I think you might be because just from the early reviews, and they've gone all out on the marketing. Like they were even at the Met Gala. Like people were like, "Oh, the Strangers are at the Met Gala." More people were interested in that than like what the celebrities were wearing. But they did the thing at the premiere that went viral. Everyone was big on that. I think the actress, she'll have a little bit of a following. She was on Riverdale, and a lot of those people have kind of broken out this past year. And I think you'll have people like horror movies. It's
and you know what The Strangers has going for it that a lot of other properties that are this old do not? It's still looked at as being scary.
It is scary. That really would be terrifying if you did. I think the scene, remember in the first one where she's standing there and he comes and stands in back of her, people always look at that. That would be terrifying.
That was in the trailer and it made people shriek during the
Yeah.
trailer. You knew it was coming in the movie and people still shrieked.
Yeah, so that was scary. I think you might end up being surprised with it.
I hope, but
the new other one is coming out in Halloween, I believe. So and then the other one comes out, I believe, in April. So it's going to be a pretty quick.
Correct. Yeah. It's going to be back to back to back.
They're not going to be strangers by the second one.
John,
I think Tyler said that first.
There's one.
Do you think you'll enjoy the movie more if you get mozzarella sticks or pretzel bites, or does it has to be popcorn?
Popcorn is the make or break for me.
You got a pizza for Fall Guy, didn't you?
Did I?
I feel like I saw you with a pizza box.
Whenever the first time they switched from flatbreads to pizza, you're like, they had pizza. I got a pizza.
No, it was whatever we saw before the Fall Guy, I feel like.
Oh, Challengers?
It was Challengers first time we did it, yeah.
So,
and you love Challengers, so maybe pizza's the way to go.
Year.
Except they didn't have pizza for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. That's a whole conversation.
Okay, gosh, calm down. This is really just so you could go on your pizza rant. Look,
that's why I got pretzel bites.
Okay, guys, it's not about the cool guy. Get this place in line, okay?
Can I smoke in here? My bad, my vape. I need to juice my vape.
No, you're good. You're good. Planet of the Vapes. Anyway.
Wow.
Sorry, that was too quick. Ooh. Ooh. Hey, this is the performance of the movie. You could do motion capture.
Sorry.
I didn't know what it was in. Okay. John, there's one element of The Strangers that we both agree on, that we talk about often, that we've never talked about on air. And that is at some point, somebody's going to get killed during the marketing campaign for these things because they keep dressing them up and putting them out on street corners and stuff. And somebody's going to kill one of the strangers. They had to stop
the live, so they went on live on TikTok the other night, and Lionsgate, their account got shut down because they said it was scaring too many people because they went live and they're like, oh, this is scaring everyone.
Here's the thing. It started with horror movies, at least. Like
Smile. That was a big one.
With Smile.
Huge.
But Smile, the best part, now I feel like it happened a bunch of times, but the best thing Smile did was spend probably $10,000 to get the seat right behind home plate during the Major League Baseball playoffs and put somebody there smiling. Now, the whole premise of that is you're just smiling. So while it's kind of a creepy smile, you're literally just smiling. Then you start seeing everybody say, hey, we're going to replicate this. Instead of
Ghostface, yeah.
Ghostface starts appearing in places to promote the latest Scream movie. Well, then it's like, okay, Ghostface is at least a recognizable enough character that if you see a random person wearing a Jason mask or you see a random person wearing a Ghostface mask, oh, they're just in costume.
Then there was the whole costume thing for the creator at an NFL game.
Yes, the movie with John David Washington that actually was really good. But then you get into something like this that is not as widely known as something like Ghostface is, or as Jason is, or as Michael Myers is, or as Freddy is. This, in the grand scheme of things,
I agree with
is
you.
a small movie to
Yes.
where if you see some, because I love to dress up with Laurel on Halloween in like various costumes, and I have been one with the one that looks like Scarecrow from this, and I'm like, what is it? Am I Scarecrow? And she's like, no, it's from The Strangers, and we did that scene where he's standing behind Liv Tyler.
So now
But I didn't know what it was.
So you're going to get killed out on the street.
But at least we're at our house doing it. It's not out in the middle of the street. But then when somebody's in the middle of the street, and when Laurel started showing me stuff from the Met Gala of all random, and I know it's a big event and it's massively, all over social media, TV, all that. But at the Met Gala, there's random people wearing these masks that aren't as widely recognized. Then at that point, that's when somebody's going to turn around and punch you, stab you, shoot you,
at one of
something.
our favorite theaters that we go to, there is a huge sign that just appeared like about 2 months ago, and it says no costumes of any kind permitted. No like monster masks, no costumes. And I'm sitting here thinking
The next Star Wars movie is going to cite no lightsaber duels.
What movie has been out that someone came up, or are people just dressing up and coming to the movies? Because it is written in huge. Yeah. It's written in a huge font.
Yeah.
That's right there when you walk in.
At the theater near me, it just says no masks under the costume rules.
But it seems like the whole costume of this is the mask.
Wasn't it Stab 2? Wasn't that the one that everyone dressed up in?
Everyone's dressed up like Ghostface. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay, that is just chapter 1 of this discussion.
Oh, God.
Let's move on to number 2.
The Strangers Chapter 2.
No, it's not. Yesterday, Justin Bieber and wife Hailey Bieber announced they are expecting their first child. This was breaking news on the Meltdown yesterday. It would have been breaking news way earlier had John read your text message out loud to everybody.
I read it, but we were on to something else at that point.
Yesterday was a busy day for me. That was a lot going on because.
Explain the cultural significance of this announcement.
Well, to understand also, at the same time, your daughter will appreciate this. Taylor Swift resumed the Eras Tour, and she completely changed.
Number 3 on the things I want to talk about. Taylor Swift is reshaping her Eras Tour by adding Tortured Poets departments.
So,
I got both of those
while
texts at the
this
same
was going
time,
on, I
by
had
the
the
way.
Meltdown going on in the background. There was laundry and things going on in the other. I had a grainy live stream of the Eras Tour because I was like shocked that she actually did change. So it made the tour so much better, like flow so much better. Added songs. My favorite part of this whole thing is how the songs about Travis Kelce that she does are so blatantly about him that she's kind of forgotten about these other two guys. But like she has bleachers and she has like football things. It's just so blatantly obvious. It's so funny, but love that. But with Justin Bieber, I'm kind of surprised because I did not think their relationship would last because they both seem.
Well, it may still not, but
he was a little bit too young for me to be like really invested in, but I don't know. He kind of seems weathered, like he just looks not all there most of the time. But you know what? Maybe this is a turning point, and he's kind of taken a step back from the spotlight. I'm sure that they will be wonderful parents. They have plenty of money, and I'm sure they will be fine.
okay. Got it. Well, some critical analysis there. We got into the Taylor Swift stuff, and just tons of Laurel news broke yesterday.
Yeah, it was very big. And I was texting you, and
I was getting
this
texts.
Is what happened.
When I start seeing, Laurel text 1, 2, 3, 4 starts piling up, I was like, something must be happening. And it's like Taylor changed her set list. Justin Bieber's having a baby. I was like,
we need what I want to call the Laurel landline, which is where when the bat phone rings, we pick it up. Doesn't matter what's going on. We pick it up and you deliver to us whatever the news is.
There was a tweet, and I very much resonated with it. It said, try explaining this, picture what today would be like for a normal person and explaining it to them. I said yes, because a normal person would not understand about any of these things.
She sends me TikToks all the time of it's like a wife explaining to the husband who doesn't care about anything. And it's like, and then Taylor did this, and then Travis showed up, and then Justin Bieber's having a baby, and it's like the exact same thing. And I was like, yep, that's us.
But there's more of us, so that made me feel better. So.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we got it all out of our system. Cool guy, how you hanging up? You going good? You hanging in there?
I'm hanging in there, man.
We did get you a backwards hat, I feel like.
No, because I don't want to totally overshadow you guys. I'm just putting my vibes out. Can the babes come in right now?
Not yet.
Okay.
But maybe starring in the next
I'll tell them to stand
Planet of the Apes movie. Okay.
Oh, Pittsburgh. It's just like,
Let's get into what I think has been some genuine and not so genuine, a mixture of both, outrage over a commercial that Apple decided to move forward with. An Apple commercial for the new iPad Pro tablet showing an industrial press crushing a television, musical instruments, books, and more ignited an angry backlash this week among many in Hollywood and other creative industries. The ad, titled Crush, shows an array of various objects, including a record player, a piano, a guitar, an old TV set, cameras, a typewriter, books, paint cans, classic arcade machines. They were all getting compressed into the new iPad Pro. The spot was soundtracked to Sonny and Cher's All I Ever Need Is You. Apple CEO Tim Cook posted on X about the new iPad Pro, along with the ad, quote, just imagine all the things it'll be used to create. But the ad, as Variety reports, has been interpreted more as a visual depiction of the tech industry's devastation of cultural industries.
oh my God.
Actor Hugh Grant posted on X saying, quote, the destruction of the human experience, courtesy of Silicon Valley. So, with the outrage...
Does Hugh Grant own an iPad or an iPhone?
I assume
Absolutely.
that he has used them at the very least.
Okay.
There's a lot of other different people, not nearly of the same status as Hugh Grant, that have posted things that have been angry. Those that represented SAG-AFTRA during the strike said this is basically exactly what we fought against, and they doubled down on this being an attack on human creativity. I want to ask first, Tyler, as a younger gentleman, what you thought of this advertisement, and did you find it at all to be offensive, abrasive? What was your thoughts about this ad from Apple?
See, this is why I have a Samsung. No, I'm kidding. Visually, it's cool, and the hydraulic press trend has been around for years.
That is
so
correct.
It kind of makes sense with also what you can do with an iPad.
So you're saying you were not offended by this?
No, it was completely inoffensive, but there are good points to AI and how that affects cultural development and how we create content. I think those are valid points, but I don't think this ad really speaks to that. To me, at least.
Laurel, you got a chance to see this advertisement?
I did.
You're a fan of a lot of physical things in your life.
Right.
You know, you're a book collector.
Yes.
You love records. I'm sure John
CDs.
wants an arcade machine at some point.
Yes.
Did you find this to be an attack on all the things in which you love?
I didn't, but I can see how some people would be offended by it. It's one of those things that each day I am kind of more and more surprised, especially with AI. I was shocked to see that A24 had AI generated movie posters for Civil War. And I think it's just people are worried, especially since they did just have this strike, about being worried about taking their job, essentially, that they are kind of showing hey, we're cramming all of this into, one thing. But also, I mean, I think I don't know if it's warranted or not, but it also, people do need to go outside and touch physical things. Like, that expression, touch grass? I see that so much. And for someone that is chronically online like me, how I know all the things that you were just talking about, there's sometimes when you're like, okay, you can put down your device for a few seconds and actually go outside and live life a little bit.
It's hot today.
I can see. I personally was not super offended, but I can see how others could be.
I think out of everything you've ever commented on, that was my favorite thing that you've said. I want that put on a plaque or something, and then so that way it can be hydraulically pressed and
touch
destroyed.
grass.
Oh, touch grass.
Cool
You're
guy,
right.
come on.
Some people
Sorry,
need to get
man.
out there and touch grass.
And his sunglasses.
If they weren't so busy smoking it, they would touch it. No, John, you feel like this is the most overreaction online that you've almost ever seen to anything. You were very viscerally, physically responding to I cannot believe people are upset by this. However, you were all about bring on the robots, bring on the digital age, bring on the drones, bring on the technology. You were all about let's get away from analog and let's get to being in a robotic society.
I'll say this. Nothing deserves to be protected in this world more than art. With that said, destruction is as much art as creation is.
Boom.
Apple and the technology Apple creates and other companies like it, whether it's Samsung, LG, whatever, have given the ability to more people to create art than any of these physical things ever did.
And to view art.
That's where you're going to stop?
And to view art.
You're done?
That's my
no
statement.
more comments?
That's my statement.
So if you're release?
If you're outraged at this, I don't have much to say to you, because this is art as much as any art that people created with that stuff is.
So you don't buy into a lot of creatives feel like what's really being promoted is replacement theory. That
It's not replacement theory. I am never going to buy a canvas and paint on a canvas. I mean, I have in my life. I took art class in school like everybody else did. But right now, I'm not going to spend the money to do that. However, through this, and through especially my iPad, which this is promoting, that's in my backpack right now, I have gotten an Apple Pencil and I've drawn drawings on there. I have done virtual digital paintings on there. I have taken that and I printed it out, and there's one literally hung in my office that I designed from scratch myself. I drew myself, that I never would have had the opportunity to do, because I'm not going to go to the store and buy a canvas and buy paint or pencils or charcoal or anything to do that kind of art. But yet when it's on my iPad and it's just there because I use my iPad for sports or for movies or whatever I use my iPad for, it then gives me the opportunity to create something that I never would have created before. I never would have gone to the studio to record music, but there's ways for me to record music on all of these devices if I really want to. There's ways for me to just artificially create music if I want to. And I'm not saying artificial intelligence. I'm just saying, artificially, through, synthesized sounds, whatever, to create music. That's something I wouldn't necessarily have because I don't have a piano in my house. I don't have a guitar in my house. I mean, I have those things, but a lot of people don't. To where there's so many opportunities that technology gives us. And I will stand on this, that this device, and my iPad have given more to the world than any of that art did. Now, that's where it started. Definitely. That's where it started, and that's where it came from. That's where it evolved from. But the technology has given more opportunities to people around the world than any of that physical stuff did, because everything is destroying. Not everybody just has it sitting in their house where they can create with it. You have to buy it. You can buy this, which is the point of the ad, by the way. You can buy this and have all of that at your fingertips, that then I don't have to. There's a piano in there. I'm lucky enough to have a piano. There's a guitar in there. I'm lucky enough to have a guitar. There's paint in there. I'm not going to go buy paint, but I can still draw. I can still virtually paint. I can still practice my craft. There's an arcade machine in there. I've never had an arcade machine in my house, but I play games on this nonstop, and it still affords me the same thing I did when I went to the arcade.
It's allowed people to consume more material on a even playing field, of where they don't have to have necessarily access to the outside world in order to be able to consume more art, more things that help them become more engaged from an ideological standpoint and consume these things. However, it's also made it easier than ever to produce art and produce content. And I do wonder how much of this reaction is those that feel like they're being trampled upon by making it a more level playing field, to where not a select few of people can just create things.
And, it's probably more of Tyler's generation, but because I think we all kind of grew up with it. But I've seen such a big, especially I see it on TikTok. I showed you, there are now people who want physical media for everything. Like, there are people that you can pay. Like, if I wanted to say, let's say I wanted to have
heavyweights.
If I wanted to have Fall Guy, if I wanted to own that on VHS, I can now contact someone that will make me a VHS and make me a cover, like draw it, do everything they want to, make me a specialized version of that and send it to me. And there are people that have these collections now. I personally cannot read on an iPad. Like, I can't do a Kindle. I like to have a actual physical copy of a book that I can read, because it gives me a headache if I look at a Kindle. So I think there are benefits, and there are with this newer generation, especially because, like I said, we grew up with it, but they're wanting now to have cassette tapes. They look at vinyls. Do you think that most of these people are actually listening to vinyls? No, they want it to have it as a keepsake. That's what they're wanting.
I actually think the sound is part of the selling point of vinyl, because it's got this texture that can't be replicated.
But it goes into it with this kind of old,
it's a mixture of, I think it's a mixture.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Like
something tangible
film.
You can hold.
I mean, bring up Taylor Swift again. I mean, she'll put out vinyls and CDs, and they sell out like that on her website. Like they go within minutes, and people will have these huge collections of CDs and vinyls at the local library. Whenever they have a sale, there are people there lined up to get collections of especially older CDs, vinyls, books, DVDs.
Rockstar, everyone in this room at some point or another was inspired by some type of physical media growing up. Everybody in this room right now that's a part of this conversation. Do you look at this advertisement and see this as a slap across the face of everyone who's ever held dear something of physical media in their life that ended up not only garnering the response it did, Apple came out and apologized and said we were in the wrong for putting this out there?
That's ridiculous. Have you ever considered being in a meeting and them throwing out ideas like, well, what all can you do with an iPad? And then somebody posts all this stuff. And then somebody posts, what if we had just a thing compressing everything that you can do into one thing? Not like, hey, how can we subliminally say that, hey, we're taking over the world? Do you really think Apple is going to hey, let's just say an FU to the entertainment industry, people, mom and pop shops, guitar teachers, people that have studios? You really think they're going to isolate? What I think of, and it's when I saw that commercial and the outrage, 30 years ago, there was a picture and then Rolling Stones, an advertisement for Microsoft. And it was, I don't know if you guys remember this, it was Bill Gates on a harness all the way on the top of this tree. And beside him was 3 stacks of paper, loose leaf paper. And he had a CD and it said, this is how many papers can fit on one CD-ROM. And it's just like, this is what technology is now. And were people pissed going like, well, that's just going to tell people not to buy books anymore. That's just killing the writings. Like they're going to put CDs like that. I don't understand why
Can we agree that there's a difference between idea and execution? And the idea is one I think we all are okay with. The execution, though, of we're going to basically put on camera the destruction of all this stuff, it was a misstep. Do you agree it was a misstep?
I don't think it was.
I don't think it is.
It was a creative misstep.
I don't think it's destruction. I think it's absorption.
It is absorption.
It's absorption.
It's compacting everything into the iPad.
Yeah.
How is this destruction of this guitar any different than in wrestling when a guitar gets hit upside somebody's head? Are you saying that was something somebody could have created art with? Why did you hit that wrestler with a guitar? You're destroying a guitar.
The iPad is a sponge.
I don't think it would have been a big of a deal have they not have had like all those strikes and all the people. I don't think anyone would have batted an eye about this like 2 years ago. I think it's just because it comes on the heels of all that people got upset over it.
They turned the comment section off of the advertisement when they put it out.
I'd like to sell my music. I like to record music. I'm not offended. I'm in media. We're in a part of media, and I've been in radio. If they had I'm not offended by that. It is an ad. That's the only thing. I'm not offended. So
actor, writer, and producer Luke Barnett, and I'm not asking you to be, but I found it to be an interesting conversation since we're all sort of in this space of consuming it and producing it. Actor, writer, and producer.
I'm more offended that they turn the comments off.
They turn the comments off.
Don't do that.
Well, then they apologize. Apple is distancing themselves from this ad campaign, and they refuse to show this on any sort of mainstream way of getting media. They have not deleted it off of YouTube yet. Actor, writer, and producer Luke Barnett commented on X saying, quote, "If you thought this iPad ad was weird, you should have seen the first cut where they lined up all your favorite characters and shot them." Is that a little bit extreme? Outrage culture?
That's not what this ad is.
Why didn't you say that in a newspaper? Why did you say it on Twitter?
Because you can't get into the newspaper these days, Rockstar.
Well, that's mean the newspaper.
But like you're talking about shooting them and them falling over, then puts them into an iPad. I mean, now it almost seems like, okay, let me ask this question. If everything
That'd
in
be
there,
a good ad for Netflix.
It honestly reminded me of something that I'd see at Epcot. Did that kind of look like an Epcot commercial?
This is what happened with Dave Chappelle on SNL.
Like if every item they put in there was all CGI, would the ad be seen differently?
Probably.
It'd probably be looked at as they even used AI to create these tangible things.
Yeah, probably works, right?
They didn't have the guts to crush real actors.
Yeah. I'm getting away from the
Anytime you do anything,
that tweet's a dumb take, by the way.
Anytime you do anything in front of an audience, there's going to be criticism. There's no doubt.
But how much performance art includes breaking things?
A lot of
I mean,
it.
a lot, probably more than it does creating things
But
nowadays.
see, you use the term breaking, and a lot of people, and I'm telling you from their vantage point, they see destroying. They don't see
the same thing.
No, they see destroying the fundamental ideal of it. This is why you're seeing the outrage.
Breaking can be fixed. Destroyed cannot.
But I mean, like breaking a guitar over somebody's head in wrestling can't be fixed, just like this
I feel
guitar.
like there
can't.
are
think
art
that's a weak
exhibits where you
analogy.
go and
It's
people
not.
like do destroy. That is a thing, right?
But using something as a weapon, anything can be used as a tool or a weapon, right? Using something as a weapon is different than purposefully removing its worth and replacing it with something that's been
still-
They're
digitized.
not
It's still
replacing.
removing
it's
its
being
worth.
absorbed into it.
This is better than wrestling.
I got it.
This is better than smashing
you
somebody's
know what?
guitar over someone's head in wrestling.
I think Apple should hire you guys. You guys would have gotten the marketing for this one right, because whatever was in this advertisement didn't work to the point where
Bottom
now
line,
Apple is having to say, we messed up.
every person that's complaining about this ad is scared of competition. They're scared that this is giving tools to other people to create art, and they're trying to hoard art for themselves. They're selfish, and they're afraid by being upset at this ad.
Well, they are certainly upset, and you had Apple come out saying, we missed the mark with this video, and we're sorry. Our goal is to always celebrate the myriad of ways users express themselves and bring their ideas to life through iPad. So,
And I love Apple, and I really like Tim Cook, and I'm not going to stop using their products because I like them better. But they're cowards for apologizing.
well, they certainly have done that. Great discussion, as always. This can be looked at from a lot of different perspectives, and we'd be curious to know in the comment section if you've seen this advertisement, what you thought of it. But there's no doubt the sector that is the most offended right now are those that are in the Hollywood circles that were there on the picket lines of SAG-AFTRA, just like Laurel, alluded to, that this is right on the heels of that too.
Right.
And
By the way, every movie that's ever done usually has iPads working on it. Just throwing that out there. And TV show, and music, and everything.
Yep.
there you have it.
If you're so upset, throw your iPads and iPhones away.
Hey, Rocky
they're not gonna do
played
that.
a nice, guitar today. Did you use an iPad to look at the sheet music
I did.
for it?
There you go. Okay, pick your picture. Are y'all wanting to play some
two.
pick your picture?
Oh, wait.
Before we pick our picture, I first recommend you pick My Dentist. Take a trip to Grants Mill Road to Alabama Dental Associates, led by Dr. Jeff and Dr. Brian. I love visiting the professional dental team that they've put together, knowing I am taking care of myself the best way I can. I spent years looking for this team, and I finally found them, and I am sharing them with you. It's never too late to find the right dentists. I have found them, and I can't wait to get you in their dental chair. Go and visit Alabama Dental Associates. You'll notice they have the friendliest staff in town, located right there on Grants Mill Road. They can help you feel at ease about all of your dental procedures. For more information or to make an appointment, call them at 205-956-8977 or visit alabamadental.com, as they look forward to seeing you. Laurel, have you ever participated in Pick Your Picture? I don't think you have.
No, I have not.
So this is the way it works. I'm going to give you a couple of movies that are currently playing at the theater. You're being forced right now at this very moment to walk into one of them.
All right.
This doesn't have to be what's the better movie. It's more like what you're in the mood for right now.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be where it is on your favorite of all time list. Just what it is that right now, you know what? I haven't seen that in a couple of years. I'll go see that.
Okay.
Here we go. We're going to begin with Laurel, and we begin with two versions of smart 1990s Matt Damon. 1998 Rounders is playing in Theater 1. 1997's Good Will Hunting is playing in Theater 2. Which one are you going to go see?
Good Will Hunting.
Not even close.
No.
Okay. She hates poker, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I mean, I just.
Y'all are so loud downstairs every Monday night.
No, that makes you feel safe. Like the strangers can't break in. No, I think Good Will Hunting is a good movie. I really like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. That was Robin Williams. I'm going to admit I'm not a huge fan. That is one movie that I really like him in. I see why he won the Oscar. And it's just a better movie to me. It's a good fall movie, I feel like.
What are you going? Are you going in the same theater as your wife, John?
Good Will Hunting is a better movie. Rounders is a more rewatchable movie. Therefore, I would rather rewatch Rounders.
Okay. Rockstar.
Oh, Good Will Hunting 100%. And I've seen Rounders and I like it, but one of my favorite scenes of all time in the film is the bench scene at the pond with Robin Williams and Matt Damon. Robin Williams is incredible in that role, and that's one I could watch literally right now. I'd watch the whole thing.
Tyler, Rounders or Good Will Hunting? Theater 1 or Theater 2?
I've never seen Rounders, but I'd go Good Will Hunting. I could watch it right now.
Okay, so you'd rather rewatch Good Will Hunting.
Yes.
Okay.
I love Good Will Hunting.
Right now, if I was to walk into one of those movies, I would go see Good Will Hunting over Rounders currently.
I got more room to spread out. I don't have to worry about some girl next to me going, ooh, every time like y'all seem to have next to you all the time.
Robin Williams,
No,
fantastic in that movie.
You're just in the equivalent of not another church movie.
Robin Williams won an Oscar for that role, right?
He did.
In Good
Yes.
Will Hunting.
Yes.
Which of these two Robin Williams movies do you want to see? Would that be 1993's Mrs. Doubtfire in Theater 1 or 1995's Jumanji in Theater 2? What are you going with, Tyler?
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to go with Mrs. Doubtfire. I always preferred that one just a little bit over Jumanji.
Okay, we have gotten a lot of Jumanji movies here lately. Not a lot of Mrs. Doubtfire content. Laurel, which one of those two are you walking into?
Although Jumanji does have Kirsten Dunst in it, I think I would have to go with Mrs. Doubtfire. It's just an easier watch. I think Jumanji's really good, and I think the reboots have been decent, but it's so loud, you know. You just want to sit there and watch Pierce Brosnan and Robin Williams dressed up like a female. I think that would be better.
Rockstar, can you do a Mrs. Doubtfire impression?
I thought I told you, did.
That's not bad.
Well, what I was going to say is I missed Doubtfire 100%. I don't care about Jumanji. But one of the most underrated lines, what is the famous gay actor that has the voice like this?
Yes,
That's
who's also an Independence Day.
Plays Robin Williams' brother, and he knocks on the door and goes, can you make me a woman? Oh, my God, yes! I mean, like that, like just how excited he is.
Yeah.
But my missed Doubtfire, when one of the best scenes is him working on that
Harvey Firestein.
Yeah, Harvey Firestein. Watching that set where the guy's talking about the dinosaurs and the cameraman is just falling asleep.
Yeah.
I mean, Miss Doubtfire. I haven't seen that in 20 years, and I could remember those scenes. I thought I told you, dear.
You sound more like the mother that's tucking her children in during Titanic when the boat is flooding. I don't know if that's a very random.
The mother I sound
one.
like is the one from So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Gotcha. Which one of those two movies are you going to go see?
Oh, Miss Doubtfire, 100%.
100%. Got it. Rockstar's giving his answer. John, what's yours?
Mrs. Doubtfire is good, but it's not as high on the list for me as it is for other people, so it's Jumanji.
I'm going to go see Mrs. Doubtfire. Are you
okay?
alone by now? I think you're alone so far. And that's fine because
more room for me. I can spread out.
So Ethan Hawke was part of Dead Poet Society along with Robin Williams. So let's go with 3 Ethan Hawke choices. And I want to start with Laurel again.
Okay.
Theater 1, Theater 2, or Theater 3? Theater 1 has The Purge from 2013. Theater 2 has Sinister from 2012. Theater 3 has The Black Phone from 2021.
Oh man, this is a hard one actually.
Which one are you going into right now? You're forced to spend the rest of your afternoon in one of these
What was
movies.
the first one?
The Purge.
Honestly, Purge, I think. I think Sinister is probably the scariest of the 3. And I watched Sinister when y'all were playing poker one night not too long ago. And I was like, oh, this movie is actually really creepy. And then we just saw Black Phone not too long ago. So I'm going to say The Purge because that kind of kickstarted. That was like a revival for him. Like that's what kind of kickstarted how he is now.
Oh, absolutely. And for me, Sinister, I think the first half of that movie is near perfection.
Yes.
The second half of that movie when the creepy kids come in, I'm laughing at it almost.
But the first part is genuinely scary. It is really...
It ended up ranking in scariest movies of all time at the #1 spot for audiences that were tested.
What's the creature's name? Bagul?
Bagul or something? Yeah,
Bagul's scary.
Very. And the found footage stuff in that is truly terrifying. Okay, Tyler, which one of those 3 movies are you going to go see? All of them in the horror genre.
So at first, when you said Ethan Hawke, my first thought was Training Day. I'd go see Training Day.
Not an option.
Out of the options you gave me, I'd go Sinister. Like you said, the found footage and the first half of that movie are perfect.
Love the first half, hate the second half. Rockstar, where are you on these 3 choices? You obviously were a star of the Black Phone this past fall.
What's funny is y'all are going to a movie that y'all hate the second part. That's not good. I've seen Sinister and I cannot remember it. I know what y'all saying. I remember found footage, but I cannot remember something with a family. He's the father.
Where he hooks up the old the film machine and
Okay,
it plays
the
how
Super
the people
8s.
die.
Okay, so I do Black Phone is more in recent memory, and I like The Purge. Okay, the rest of them sucked, but I love the idea of The Purge, but for some reason I don't think of Ethan Hawke for that film when you say The Purge.
He's right there.
I know he's in it, but like that's one of those movies where it's like
I do feel like the lasting legacy of The Purge is everything that happens after the first one because that's the more big picture
but
of
the
The Purge.
first one has like the better characters, like the really rich people that come.
The first one's the best to me.
the guy that knocks on the door is
not the first Purge, but the first movie.
Scott Harrison's. What's Scott?
Matt McLaren.
Matt
I
McLaren.
remember us talking about
Yeah,
that.
he's on the peephole. It's like, oh my God, that's Matt McLaren.
Yeah.
So Lunceford, your turn. Where are you going by yourself?
I actually kind of like the original Purge movie.
Oh, yes.
I never saw Sinister.
Never thought, Laurel, high five. Never thought he'd ever say something like that.
I like that. I like the micro versus the macro of The Purge.
And Cersei's in it.
Cersei is in it. I never saw Sinister. You saw Sinister when we were doing the original Meltdown.
Yeah.
And we went to go eat, and I was like, well, what do you think
That
I
is
would like
correct.
it? And you're like, stay far away from this movie.
Hated the second half.
And it was stay far away from a violent standpoint. And so I've never watched it, and I never will watch it. But I'll probably end up watching it one day. But anyway, I like the black phone probably the most. I would go see that.
Oh.
Okay. So you and Rockstar are going to see the Black Phone together?
Yes, sir.
Y'all are both going to see Sinister?
No, I'm going to see
No,
Purge.
you're going to see Purge? I'm probably going to see, oh man, I hate the second half of Sinister. I'm not doing that one. I don't love the Purge, the original Purge. So I'm probably going Black Phone.
Yeah, pick the popular option once.
Yeah,
Yay,
the
you did.
Studs Theater. You are going to the Duds Theater.
The cool guy.
Joel said the answer is Gattaca when he I don't remember what Tyler said, but Gattaca would probably be my Ethan Hawke.
Or
movie if I
Explorers for
chose
me.
one.
You know,
Training Day.
Tyler, what other movie Ethan Hawke was in?
He was in Training Day.
He was in
Tim.
Training Day alongside Denzel Washington. Which one of these two movies set 10 years apart, released 10 years apart, are you going to go see? John?
Man on Fire.
Are you going to go see Flight from 2012? Or are you going to go see John Q from 2002?
I really like John Q. I'm going to see John Q.
Tyler?
What were the options?
Flight from 2012, where he plays an alcoholic pilot, or John Q from 2002, where he's fighting to hold an emergency room hostage on behalf of his son who needs a transplant.
I'm trying to think if I've
Have you seen either one of these two movies?
I've caught bits and pieces of Flight when it's on TV, and I think same for John Q. John Q sounds more interesting to me. I'll take that one.
Okay, John Q, is it going to have a clean sweep? Because I'm definitely Team John Q. Laurel, where are you going?
I'm going John Q. I just remember Flight. Like, I forgot there was somebody else that probably was going to be nominated for an Oscar, and then something happened. You know, they got canceled or whatever, and like randomly, like Denzel Washington was Oscar nominated for Flight. It's like, okay, but he's a good actor. He's a good one.
Clean sweep here with John Q. Is that happening, Rocky?
I did not like John Q.
Oh no!
I wasn't in love with Flight, but I'm going to go see Flight.
John Q got terrible reviews, but I really like John Q.
You're the mechanical press of this show, Rockstar. You just
I'm cool as a
destroyed
cucumber.
every piece of momentum we had as a group. Okay, Denzel won his first Academy Award for his performance in what film?
Glory.
That is correct. Where he starred alongside
Morgan Freeman.
and
Ferris Bueller.
correct Matthew Broderick. So, Rockstar,
If this was trivia, I feel like the answer needs to be accepted.
are you going to see 1998's Godzilla or 2005's The Producers?
What kind of question is this?
Oh man,
Guys, considering everyone picks the same Matthew Broderick movie, I have to pick two movies
You could have
that.
done
Election.
The Freshman. Was with that.
Yeah,
What
election
Cable
would have
Guy.
been.
What do I put up against Election? That's
Cable
not.
Guy.
Biloxi
You still put
Blues.
the producers. I go see the producers over election.
Oh.
I would see God.
I like the producers.
I would go see Godzilla. I do not like seeing musicals.
It would be like a hate watch because it's so stupid that I think that it would be
Hank
worse.
Azaria. Is Hank Azaria in
He
in
is.
Godzilla? Yeah, I'd
Yes.
see Godzilla.
I want him to be tough to answer, and so far it's been tough to answer. So, Laura, which one of these two are you going to go see? Godzilla?
I would have to go with Godzilla.
Tyler, Godzilla or The Producers? We already know John's going to The Producers.
I wish B movie was an option, but but I'll go see the '98 Godzilla. That's the one I grew up with.
Babbling like a cicada. That's one of my few movie impressions that I do. I'm going to go see The Producers with John. John, we're going to make
Sweet.
it
Hey,
a time.
Matthew Broderick, Nathan Lane,
Will Ferrell?
Uma Thurman, Will Ferrell. I mean, come on.
By the way, Will Ferrell, as we mentioned in The Producers, he's also in these two movies from the mid-2010s.
This is gonna be tough. I know.
Yeah.
Are you going to go see, John, The House from 2017
It's not a bad movie.
or Get Hard from 2015?
I have actually not seen Get Hard. As much as I love John C. Reilly and all, I've not seen Get Hard. So I'm gonna go see that just so I can go see it.
Get Hard.
The house wasn't bad.
Now, I think you're thinking of a different movie.
This is a
Yeah,
Kevin
oh,
Hart.
yeah.
movie.
I'm thinking of.
This is where he like pretends to
Walk
go to
Hard.
prison.
Get
Yeah.
Hard. I have seen. That's
This
Kevin
had
Hart movie.
Kevin Hart, yeah.
Walk Hard. That's what I'm thinking of. Is that what it's called?
The Dewey Cox story, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Walk Hard. Sorry. Get Hard was not good. I'm going to see The House.
Okay.
I forgot about that movie.
That one had more plot twist than the latest Planet of the Apes movie.
Yeah.
Tyler,
I was
which
thinking
one of
Walk
these
Hard,
two are
sorry.
you going to go see?
What's the plot of The House? I've never seen that.
It's about starting an underground gambling ring, which is pretty much how me and John live our lives now, to support sending a daughter to college. And in order to do that, both he and Amy Poehler are going to set up an illegal casino in their basement and welcome in everybody to try to earn enough money to send their daughter to college.
Yeah, I'll give that a try. I wasn't crazy about Get Hard. There were a couple good moments in that, but overall it was pretty weak.
I feel like one of those waiters that tells you about the daily specials, and if you don't go with it, I'm like, why did I waste my time? And so I'm happy you ended up going with The House. Rockstar, which one of these two?
I don't want to Get Hard. I want to go to The House. I haven't seen either.
I don't know where this is going.
But same thing with the script. I didn't know where it was going. I want to go with House because I like Amy Poehler. Kevin Hart is just really oversaturated right now. And Will Ferrell is just taken in small doses. He's funny. But I think House would be more of a straight character.
Laurel, I'm convinced you want to see neither of these two movies. So which one are you being drugged into?
As you know, with Get Hard, I love how like most of Kevin Hart's movies, it's like pretending. It's like pretending to be something too. Like remember,
you have a high-pitched scream or something like that?
The wedding. What was that movie called? But we just talked about
the wedding ringer.
Yeah, where it's like you gotta pretend to be someone's best friend, and this movie's like you gotta pretend to be someone who went to prison. Yep. Like and that ride along, like, you gotta pretend to be a cop. Yep. I'm gonna go with The House. So
The House, like Will Ferrell, I feel like kind of fell off a little bit, and then The House brought it back just enough. It wasn't classic Will Ferrell, but it brought it back just enough to be like Will Ferrell, and then it has stayed there. I feel like since.
I didn't love The House. I'll probably go see Get Hard, which I think I laughed more throughout. Amy Poehler, obviously, in The House. She was also in
The House.
2008's Baby Mama and 2015's Sisters.
I think Sisters is actually a really good movie, and it got buried because it came out the same day as Force Awakens. I don't know why they did it. It's actually a really funny movie, so I would pick that one.
Their
100%.
hope was counter-programming, but
Yeah,
literally everyone went to go see
we went to go.
Force
I
Awakens.
remember going to see it, and it was like me and a few friends, and we were like the only 4 people in the theater. Like everyone was at Star Wars. It was like the second or third day it had been out. But it's funny. I'll watch that one. Like if I can't find something to watch, that's one that's like a Bridesmaids that I'll put on.
What you didn't know was an 8-year-old Tyler was also in there with you.
Were you Tyler?
What
The
movie?
movie Sisters. Baby Mama or Sisters? Which one of those two movies are you going to go see? It was Tyler and Flavor Flav going to see Sisters together.
Yeah, boy. I've never seen either of those movies.
Tyler literally this whole time's like, I don't know anymore. Quit asking.
Yeah. What?
They both have Tina Fey and Amy Poehler in them.
Yes.
They're both comedies. Which one sounds
get them
better?
both confused.
You are now a senior citizen that has shown up to the theater not knowing what any of the movies up on the screen are, and you want to walk into one of these matinees. Which one are you going to go do? I've seen that a lot, by the
there's
way.
Sisters and what else?
Baby Mama.
Baby Mama.
How do you lose Pick Your Picture? That's what I want to know. It's like, it's not a competition that you can lose. I don't feel like, anyway. Okay.
Just pick one.
Which one are you going with there, John?
As Family Guy says, they do a promotion for Baby Mama, and it's like, what happens when a 40-year-old woman decides to ask a 41-year-old woman to have her baby for her? It makes me laugh every single time because that's exactly what the movie is. They're 1 year apart from each other, and the whole thing is Tina Fey's too old to have a kid, so she gets Amy Poehler, who's the exact same age to have a kid for. It's the dumbest
I'm switching
premise.
to Sisters then.
It's the dumbest
I didn't
premise.
know that's what it was about.
Therefore, I'm going to go see Sisters, even though both of these really aren't.
I think
Sisters
Kevin
was
Hart
okay.
might be in Baby Mama too. But I'm not positive.
Kevin Hart, I don't
Damn,
see him.
pregnant.
I don't see him in Baby Mama, but it's dumb. Sisters is okay. I'll go see Sisters.
John Cena's in Sisters.
There you go.
If that's
Sure.
a selling point for anyone here.
It's Sisters. I remember seeing something on TBS with
Johnson.
We watched
Tina
it
Fey-
at our old job.
Was it? Do they have a party at the house?
Yes, it's
Because-
like the parents are selling the house.
Yes. So yeah, I'd see Sisters.
There's a slip onto a candle, if you remember.
Yes. Sisters all the
Got
way.
Maya Rudolph.
Love Tina Fey.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is in Sisters, Laurel, that you just mentioned?
John Cena?
John Cena. John Cena is going to end this edition of Pick Your Picture. Are you going to see, Laurel, 2015's Trainwreck or 2018's Blockers?
Oh, I watch
Easy
Blockers
choice.
all the time. I watch Blockers all the time.
And you still want to go see
Yes.
it instead of Trainwreck.
I don't like Amy Schumer. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, I think you're not in the minority there, I don't think. Rockstar, which one of these two movies are you going to go see? Trainwreck or Blockers?
Blockers 100%. I think I saw Nancy and I were in Knoxville for something, and that was on TBS or TNT, and I was like, this isn't that bad. Is Leslie Mann in Blockers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I was like, this is pretty
love
funny.
the other
TBS
guy.
version was pretty. I know the other unedited
Ike
is pretty
Barinholtz.
funny.
Yeah, he's funny too.
He was
But-
also in Sisters, by the way, I think.
I am not an
Yes.
Amy Schumer fan. I'm not a LeBron James fan. So yeah, I don't want to see Trainwreck.
I still feel like Trainwreck is a good movie. I like Trainwreck.
I think for his time, it was good. I think everyone hates her so
Amy Poehler's
much.
not good,
that
and Trainwreck was not good.
it was a good idea.
Amy Schumer.
Schumer. Good
Poehler.
God, we just talked about Amy Poehler.
I thought Tyler said that for a second. I was
No,
like,
Amy
no,
Schumer.
I'm forcing you to see Baby Mama.
Schumer.
Anyway.
John Cena and Ike Barinholtz also both in 2 versions of Suicide Squad too.
Ooh, there we have it.
They've had a lot of carryover with each other.
So everyone here's going Blockers. Is that correct?
I'm not going Trainwreck.
You're not going Trainwreck?
have you seen Blockers?
I haven't.
Blockers is pretty
It's
good.
funny.
That's where I thought, okay, John Cena's got a little something when it comes to acting.
Here's the reason I'm going Blockers, and that is that I've never seen it. I've seen Trainwreck.
Really?
I've
pretty
never
good.
seen Blockers.
It's pretty good, pretty funny.
So there we have it. That is Pick Your Picture. Everyone wins except for Tyler today. Congratulations. Good job.
What did I
I'm
do?
kidding. You didn't do anything wrong. Tyler, don't take that seriously. It's just a joke. It's for comedic effect. I'm not here to crush all your hopes and dreams. I'm here to say you are a champion of life. How's that feel?
Okay.
Okay, Butch Jones.
Play the button.
Yeah, hit the button.
Okay. It is now time for a brand new edition of Lunce's List. John, you're profiling today something that is mostly unattainable for most people, and that is the peaks of fame, the top of the charts. A line graph that does nothing but reach the very, very top. It's going to be tough to profile the 5 people who maybe should have been a part of that journey, but never quite amounted to reaching those hopes and dreams. It's kind of a depressing list today, but we're going to make it public right here on this edition of The Meltdown with a new edition of Lunce's List.
What is this? What is this? Nonsense list, nonsense list, oh. What is this? What is this? Nonsense list, nonsense list, oh. Lunce's list to buy. Lunce's list to buy. Lunce's list to buy. Lunce's list to buy.
Alrighty, John, I want you to name the 5 actors or actresses that you think are supremely talented, but you are surprised never became, or have yet to become, bigger Hollywood stars. This is not meant to be a diss track. This is not meant to be Drake and Kendrick Lamar. That's not what this is supposed to be.
These are all people I like.
There-
I mean,
there you
I
go,
actually really
Tim.
like.
Guys, I host a pop culture show. I don't know
I
if
like
you know
that.
this, but
I did not.
What was your favorite diss track from the Beef, Tim?
I will get into that with you off the air because
All right.
I don't want to put my allegiance out there. But I will say, John, that this is not meant to be critical. It's meant to talk about, I'm actually surprised they didn't end up having a rocket ship strapped to their back to go
This
right
is
up
like
to
my
the
favorite
top.
thing, Tim. When you said this, like I said, 1 million people last night. When you read it off, this is like my favorite thing
Good.
to talk about. I love this.
I was not necessarily convinced that John knew what I was trying to get him to do. And that's not it. It's not John no understand. It's a very complicated list because I think there's going to be a little bit of a barrier for people to grasp what it is we're trying to say.
The list I came up with was a list I was working on as we were debating back and forth. I threw one example out there, and I'll say it. My example was Jonathan Majors, where I saw him in The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which was a really good movie. And at that point, that was one of those futures I'm willing to bet on. Like, this guy's going to be big. He became big. So I was like, if I had done the list right after that movie came out, would that be somebody I would pick for the list who's an unknown? He's done a couple of things since he was in Captain State right after that, which was awful, but he was good in it. That then, am I saying, is it somebody like that who I think should be a big star? He became a big star, and then he threw it all away, but that's a different story. It's not necessarily people like that. These
not
are all
like that.
These are all people who I have been watching for a while.
Yes.
That everybody knows their name. When I say their name, everybody's going to know.
Yes.
honestly maybe accept number one, which is part of the problem with number one, but that they should be bigger than they are. And I can sit here and name a lot of examples of things they've done. They're like, oh yeah, I know that. But they're never like leading man, leading lady.
Right.
They're never
This is not supposed to be diamonds in the rough. This is supposed to be people that plateaued too early that you're surprised did.
that none of these people are A-listers, but like, I'm like, why weren't they A-listers? Why weren't they ever A-listers?
Let's start off with number 5.
Number 5.
The example that I gave John was Ray Liotta. Was he successful? Sure. He made a lot of movies. He was in a lot of things. A lot of them very good. But after Goodfellas, he should have been the it guy in Hollywood. He should have reached heights that he never quite reached in his career. And I've always wondered why Ray Liotta, after that movie, didn't just ascend to the very top of Hollywood.
James Marsden from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, right?
Was he in Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Was.
I never watched Buffy.
I don't
James
remember him
Marsden
in
to me is in a million romantic comedies that I have seen, and he is always the person that is never chosen. Like he.
Well, so that's what I wrote.
Yeah,
so
he takes care of Sonic now.
yeah, he is. I mean, probably second build, I guess, behind Jim Carrey. Good Lord, I cannot do names today.
You okay?
James Marsden. It's always because there's something that's tripped me up. I'm talking about James Marsden and Jim Carrey. James Marsden is big. Like, everybody knows who he is. He's been in a million major properties.
The internet hates him right now.
But he's always secondary. He's always either the one that dies or the one that doesn't get the girl at the end.
The Notebook. Come
but
on.
he has the look.
Enchanted.
He has the look of that should be the guy. Like, that should be the Ryan Gosling. Like, just to look at him. Like, hey, that's the hot guy who's in Hollywood and has been in every major property. Why is he not like the A-list person? He's always like third or fourth or fifth build. That, I mean, like I said, even in Sonic, where he's the main character minus Sonic, like I feel like Jim Carrey is always going to be, built over him.
He was completely overshadowed in X-Men.
I assume Jim Carrey's still in Sonic. I haven't seen those movies. But like X-Men, secondary character that dies. The Notebook, secondary character that doesn't get the girl. Westworld, secondary character that dies, which I love. The Butler, secondary character that dies because he played JFK. Anchorman 2, secondary character that dies because he gets blown up at the end of Anchorman 2.
Anchorman 2.
Enchanted.
Enchanted. I still haven't seen that.
He doesn't get the girl.
Superman Returns. Isn't he with Lois Lane? But then I guess he'll ultimately get cast to the side. I don't remember if he's still with her at the end or not. Every movie, he either doesn't get the girl or dies. And it's like, one of these days, James Marsden needs to have his moment in the sun where he actually wins, but he's never going to get it. And I feel like he's somebody that should be bigger and be an A-list star, but just never really was.
Let's move on to number 4.
And Westworld obviously is what sold him, a reason why he's on the list for me.
All right.
Also, just looked it up. The person who played in Buffy was James Marsters, not James Marsden.
Yeah.
There you go. I can
real
see
close.
how.
I would remember
Wasn't
him
Seth
on
Green
Buffy.
in
He
Buffy?
was. He was he
So
was
that
a
leads to it.
werewolf.
Seth Green. Oh, this is a good pick. Yeah. From that 70s show to Family Guy.
Black
The
Swan.
sister of Seth Green and Family Guy is Mila Kunis. Now that's where I fell in love with her, was Family Guy. And then I feel like Forgetting Sarah Marshall was probably her first like big role, once again, not like the lead.
American Psycho 2.
I know she did that before, but whatever with that. Then like Max Payne was supposed to be a thing and it flopped.
Yeah.
Book of Eli. I haven't seen that. I want to see it, but I feel like it was a decent movie at the
a good
time.
film.
It was fun. I was back on the Max Payne thing. If Max Payne was developed for today, where so many video game properties are hitting, and who knows, maybe Max Payne is in redevelopment right now. I feel like it would work more now than it did.
Hey,
back
Nicole.
then.
I'm Max Payne.
Oh gosh, it always. Hey, give us some time here. It always gets
I'll
better.
give you pain to the max. I don't know. Weak walls.
It was her and Marky Mark. But the problem is Max Payne was a popular game then. Max Payne is like a figment of our imagination now when it comes to games. Then Black Swan. And that movie rightfully earning all kind of accolades. Natalie Portman winning all the awards. Mila Kunis a part of making that. And it's like, okay, this is going to launch it. And then, I mean, since then, Bad Moms is the best thing she's done.
That the same year that Black Swan came out, she was in a movie with Justin Timberlake.
Friends with Benefits.
Friends with Benefits. And her now husband
Ashton Kutcher
was in a
the other
movie
one.
with Natalie Portman called Friends with
It was
No Strings Attached.
And it was the same film.
Exact same movie.
It was the exact same movie.
Was Ashton Kutcher in that?
It is. It's Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman.
It was it was an interesting pairing of movies there. I mean, honestly, the biggest thing she did after Black Swan was
Ted 1.
Ted, Bad Moms. I don't know if Bad Moms made more than Ted or not. I feel like neither one.
I feel like Ted probably
were
made
box
more
office
money.
crushers necessarily. Like Jupiter Ascending, I feel like was supposed to be because the Wachowskis were coming off The Matrix, and I can't remember if it was before or after Cloud Atlas, but it's like this is going to be their big sci-fi. That was like the Rebel Moon of the time. That like, hey, big directors are getting behind a big movie. It was her. Eddie Redmayne had just won his Oscar. Channing Tatum. It had big names in it, and just
Channing.
Totally, it just totally fell off a cliff. But she was the main character in that. I was excited for it. I liked it okay as a sci-fi nut, but like it didn't do much for anybody else. And she did that Wizard of Oz movie with James Franco, the wizard, in that, and she played like the Wicked Witch of the West. And that movie flopped. It's like why can't it work for her? 'Cause I feel like Black Swan should have been that point, but like she built up to like Black Swan and then just.
I also feel like, and this is a weird thing to say, but I feel like she's almost like too little. Like I feel like Reese Witherspoon, we talked about this last night, is like the height that is almost that's like right there. I think she's too little. Like Sarah Michelle Gellar, like that type. They just kind of look kind of young, and so they never really like get.
And I will say her
roles.
voice works great for Meg, but her voice is not actually that good from just a normal acting perspective. Like I kind of feel that way with Sydney Sweeney too. Her voice fits perfectly with what she is in Euphoria, but it doesn't really, like when I'm watching Anyone But You or anything, and I didn't see Immaculate, but it doesn't really fit. And I feel like it's going to be weird. Her voice is just kind of has that high schooler, I'm not going to say Valley Girl, but like it just kind of has that, I don't know how to describe it.
It felt off in Immaculate.
Yeah. So it's just kind of weird, and I feel like Mila Kunis is kind of that way too. And you hear Meg, and it's perfect with Meg, and then you see Mila Kunis, and obviously they look totally different, but it's weird seeing the voice come out of Mila Kunis, even though that's just her talking.
Let's go ahead and get to number 3 on Lunce's list, talking about those 5 on-screen talents that never reached the pinnacle, never reached the top of the star mountain, that maybe had all the tools and all the push to be able to try to get there, but just for some reason came
there was
up
one
short.
movie in particular that ruined it for this pick.
Emilia Clarke, best known for
Terminator Genesis.
She's like one of the best characters on TV.
Here's the thing.
Game of Thrones.
She's arguably the biggest character and arguably the biggest TV show of all time. Then she's cast in a Star Wars movie, tanks. In a Terminator movie, tanks. In a Marvel property, tanks.
In a romantic book.
And all kind of other things that have been bad too.
That was supposed to be a big movie.
But I'm just saying from mainstream appeal, and I know the movie.
Great camera cut there, Tyler. That was wonderful. Good emotion, husband and wife, great energy. Love it. You're the director of photography.
Am I wrong about that? That was supposed to be a big movie.
And that Last Christmas movie, which was also awful. But Star Wars, Marvel, Terminator. She was given roles in all of those, and every single one of them tanked after being one of the best TV characters ever. I mean, House of the Dragon exists because of how well that character was, or how well it was received in Game of Thrones.
I'm going to throw something out there, and this goes through with a lot of people. And the other person that it makes me think of is Orlando Bloom. I think a lot of the time, people only liked her when she had the long blonde hair and looked like the Dragon Queen.
She does look better with blonde hair.
Orlando Bloom has the same fate because people only liked him in Lord of the Rings when he had like the long blonde hair, and it's like, oh, look at that. And then you see him in real. Eddie is going to be another one that is going to.
I thought you were going to say people only like Orlando Bloom if he's dressed like a pirate.
No lie. At the end of this show, I was going to say this is the first show where we have not had an Eddie reference from Laurel. And we have 10 minutes to go,
well, the
and
thing
she
is,
lost the count.
The thing is, Orlando Bloom, I feel like keeps a shaved head now, and it's so different from the long flowing blonde hair he had as an elf in Lord of the Rings. And Eddie now has a shaved head.
What's his name?
Henry Cavill?
Yes, because in The Witcher, everyone was obsessed with him looking like that too.
Which, by the way, that Freya Allen that was in Planet of the Apes, that's the only thing she's done is she's one of the main characters in The Witcher on Netflix. All
okay.
Right. Is the list okay so far?
So far, I'm A-okay with it. I am A-okay with it. Let's go to number 2 here. Number 2 on Lunce's list of those 5 talented individuals that didn't quite make it to the stratosphere of stardom.
Oh, Timothy Oliphant.
Timothy Oliphant, or as Laurel and I know him from Scream 2.
Yes. That's all I think about whenever I see his name.
I'm
Is
The thing
with
is,
you.
I went to all these people's filmographies to be like, I got to, just make sure and go through. And I saw Scream 2. I was like, was he the main character in Scream 2? And then it seems like he was like way down the list.
no, he was.
I've never seen it.
I told
spoiler,
John
but-
this earlier. So far for the 3 of these, Timothy Oliphant, I could share the elevator with him today. I probably wouldn't recognize him.
Really?
Yeah, the other 3 totally. But Timothy Oliphant, I
but
can't
don't
even
you-
put.
but don't you
If
kinda
you
do
show me
that
a
every
picture, I'll
day?
probably know who he was. But if I was in the elevator, I'd be like,
He looks like Lance with longer hair.
According
Okay.
to Jim
Allegedly.
Dunaway's wife, he looks like Lance. I kind of see it.
Yeah.
So he had Justified, where I never
How
watched
do you
it.
say you kind of see it when we had Lance in this chair 2 weeks ago and you said, I see you as a dead ringer for Timothy Oliphant currently?
Well, I'm just saying I do agree
I'm
with
sorry.
the fact that I
I
see
still
it.
think he looks like McNulty from The Wire.
That was yes.
Um,
Been saying that for years. I agree with you, Tyler.
All right.
He had Justified, which I think is the main character on, right? I never watched it.
He was.
He had
yes.
Deadwood, which he was one of the main characters on as well. And I feel like Ian McShane was maybe the main guy in that, but I didn't watch it either. But since then, and I feel like it's kind of his start, more TV, but has he been the star in like anything?
He was in that
Since
show
then?
with Drew Barrymore that people
That
like.
Santa Clara diet,
But-
but like I feel like that's more her than it is
Yeah.
him bringing people in. I liked when he was on The Office. I mean, he was only on it for like a hot second, but I mean, I think they could have done more with him and they didn't. The thing that made him bomb, I feel like, for a little bit in Hollywood was they tried to make a Hitman movie based off the video game, and he played the main character and like he shaved his head bald and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it bombed. Like most video games movies, just like Max Payne did. It bombed hard. Seems like he's always on the cusp. And like I remember when he popped to The Mandalorian, it's like, ooh, he's in the show. Okay, that's kind of cool. And then, he's not on the show anymore.
He kind of reminds me, and it kind of looks like Josh Duhamel. Like they kind of have that similar type of look in their
I see
roles.
a little bit.
And Josh Duhamel never really made it either. He was another one.
I feel like he should be bigger than he is. But he's kind of in that James Marsden territory, a little older, but he's kind of in that territory of always like a secondary, third person in there. Before I get to number 1, which I wrote number 1 and built the list backwards from this, and you may agree or disagree. I know you like this person, but you may agree or disagree that they're big.
I think we may both have the same number 1. We're gonna continue.
Chris Tucker is one I considered. He kind of pulled himself out of Hollywood for a while. I feel like Rush Hour was there, and then and Friday, and then he kind of just disappeared off the planet. And I tried to look, did he do it himself? I don't want to do this
I think
anymore.
he had a breakdown.
It's and he says now, because once Air came out, he had a really good role in Air, and I really liked him in that. He said he was just waiting for the right role the whole time. It's like you waited like a decade. Like surely people offered you something, because Fifth Element. I mean, I loved him in the Fifth Element. I thought about him. I thought about Katie Holmes. Laurel mentioned that, and I started thinking like, now that's a Tom Cruise thing that kind of ruined that, and I still am bitter about The Dark Knight.
Yeah, what's she doing now? Just like
I don't think she really likes
the
to
main
be
thing
out and
missing?
about. No,
you know what
she's
reminded
around.
me to put her on the list was I was watching the movie Ocean's 8 because I watched the first 3 and I said I might as well finish it. And I watched Ocean's 8 and she randomly makes a cameo at the Met Gala in it as herself, sitting next to Anne Hathaway who's playing a character in it. And I'm like, Katie Holmes, she never really did anything because once again, that's more of a Tom Cruise thing. I thought about Josh Hartnett. He is on a
Having
tour
a
right now,
resurgence.
but like kind of disappeared, and I
Having
feel
a
like should have
resurgence.
been bigger before now. But I left him off because he's kind of in the middle of like, okay, he's getting his chance now. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is somebody I put on there. She's married to Ewan McGregor. Great in 10 Cloverfield Lane. Great in Scott Pilgrim. Had a bunch of roles, but never really like made it. And now I don't know that she's really. I mean, she was in Ahsoka, but that's kind of the only thing I've seen her in lately.
did she voice act for the Scott Pilgrim show that just came out?
Yeah.
She did, yeah.
Okay.
Matthew Lillard is one that had Scream, had
Good pick.
Scooby Doo, and just
She's all that.
sure. And then
Hackers.
never really hackers. Never really.
I
went
think
anywhere.
SLC Punk's good. I love that movie.
I'm trying to think if any of these would have, if you would have accepted them on the list or not. And another random one that I was going to put on there was Topher Grace as well.
Oh, Topher Grace is a great choice.
Yeah.
That I feel like he never really made.
After Spider-Man 3, I mean, it
Because
was
once again,
supposed to be.
he was in the Ocean's movies too. Because at the beginning of the first and second one, Brad Pitt's teaching him how to play poker and trying to kick him out of his hotel at the beginning of those movies.
There's one more honorable mention that I would like for you to make right now. and that is to Leslie and her board-certified team at Way to Wellness, because they always deserve to be honorably mentioned here in the home of the Next Round and Disrupt Media, because they've not only done a lot to help both me and you, but also our good pal and buddy Jim Dunaway, and even members of your own family, John.
They have. The two of us, Jim, my dad, they have done great with all of us. You see Tim and I weighing in right there. You saw Leslie walking in at the last second. On that clip, you see us here getting our blood pressure checked, and they do everything to keep us healthy and on the go at Way to Wellness. Go to aplanforme.com. You can learn more about the plan I'm on, about the plan Tim is on, about the plan Jim is on, my dad is on, and look how happy Tim looks when we go and step on that scale, and the number is down. We're over 65 combined pounds down. We're about to go weigh in next week and add to that total as well. Go to aplanforme.com. Learn more about Way to Wellness.
Okay, we appreciate Leslie. We also appreciate the number one slot here on Lunce's list, which is about to be unveiled. Let me just ask you one quick question. Does it start with the letter C?
Yes.
Okay, I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
She's married to Han Solo. What are you talking about?
Because
What's the LA McDeal?
I agree with your number one. This may be one of the rare times where we both have the exact same number one. Yep.
Clive Owen.
This guy should have been the biggest star in Hollywood.
I think this shows that it's random that it's like, oh, there's a list where we 100% both agree Clive Owen should be at the top. It's like, there's no list in the world you would ever say, oh, Clive Owen belongs at the top, but we both agree with that, proving that he should be a bigger star than he is. He's the star of what, in my opinion, is the single greatest piece of cinema ever created, with Children of Men. And the average person, I imagine, doesn't even necessarily know who Clive Owen is. The average, not necessarily a big movie goer, but just the average person, if you went and asked people in the office, half the people wouldn't even know who Clive Owen was.
Half is being generous.
Probably being generous. Clive Owen's great. Clive Owen's the easy choice for number one.
That's it? You had a dissertation on everybody, get to number one, and then
I
that's
did.
it?
The thing is, number one's sometimes such an easy choice. But Clive Owen, I mean,
Look.
Children of Men's best movie ever made. I highly recommend it if you have not seen it.
There's a movie I wanted to talk about with Laurel for a long time that I don't know if you've seen it.
Real quick,
But-
wasn't he he was the bad guy with the killers on the original Born Identity? Or you never seen it? Born
Yes.
Identity.
Yeah,
Yes,
he was in
okay.
it, though. Yeah.
And
Was
this
the
is random.
assassin
Yeah, he was
in
just
the first
randomly short time. Go ahead.
You're good. That's what cool guys do. Derailed.
Yeah, it's the Jennifer Aniston movie.
That was a good film.
Very underrated.
Yes, I think
It was panned when it came out. I love that movie.
I loved that movie too. I think like there's a certain scene that like turned people off of it, and that's kind of like what got hyped up like during the release.
I'm trying to remember. Was this like a
David Schwimmer
I don't-
shows up.
a
knocks on the
Challenger
door.
sort of thing, like where a
Well,
certain scene
but, like,
is expected to
not in a-
happen?
but not like her wanting it to be like
Right.
that.
I got it.
And I think like that's I remember hearing so much about that when it came out. I feel like hearing that like kind of overshadowed.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember any of that.
It's
Yes.
because it's done by who's the guy that's in Black Swan that is like her instructor. We always talk about him.
I don't know his name, but I'd tell
It's
you.
like Vincent.
Vincent Castle, who was the
Yes.
bad guy in Ocean's 12, by the way.
yeah.
Yes.
Everything ties
So
back to an
it's-
Ocean's movie.
It's a scene between him and her, and that kind of I feel like kind of tanked the movie a little bit. But you know,
And that same year, what other movie did he do? Sin City. Does anybody say Clive Owen when you say the movie Sin City?
everyone says Jessica.
No, you say
Jessica
Jessica Alba because of that one scene. You say Bruce Willis. You
Yeah.
say Mickey Rourke. You say Brittany
Elijah
Murphy.
Wood.
You say Elijah Wood. You say Rosario Dawson. You say everybody in the world but Clive Owen.
Yeah.
But yes, Derailed is good, so you watch it.
It is a good movie. I concur.
I will watch bad Clive Owen movies that I know are bad movies, and
The
I
Bank,
will
what
go,
is it called?
he's really good in this.
So I'm obsessed with The Fifth Element, and then Luke Besson followed it up. It wasn't his next movie, but it was the next big like space movie with Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets that I feel like everybody hated. I liked it okay. It was Cara Delevingne and Dane DeHaan were the two main people in it, but Clive Owen is like the general and turns out to be the bad guy in it. He's incredible in the movie. And then right after that, he did a movie called Anon that was him and Amanda Seyfried. It was a Netflix movie, and I think it's all black and white, and it was incredible. And I feel like it got panned by critics. And he does all these random movies. It's like that's interesting enough for me to kind of want to watch it. But Clive Owen's in it. I'm gonna check it out. And it's the most random movies that I remember him from. That
Did you ever watch
good
The
in.
Nick, where he plays
I have not seen that one.
First, like when surgeons first became a thing, he plays like one of the first ones, but he's also an alcoholic, I think, in that. Anyway, Clive Owen is wonderful. I'm glad that this was a list that could appreciate him. I would have loved to have seen him as Bond at some point. We never got it, unfortunately, but our appreciation has been put out there into the world, and this is a Clive Owen appreciation podcast. So that's going to do it for Lunce's list. But John, that's not going to do it for all the fun that can be had this weekend, because there's plenty of fun things to do at our title sponsor, MyBookie.
That's right. Stars and Mavs finally won, but if you want to bet them to lose now that the odds have gone up a little bit, go to mybookie.ag. Promo code next round right there. You see it. You can use that for a first deposit, get a little bonus on us. You can play that. Go to their live casino. They have a lot of cool live casino games. I play blackjack there all the time. You can play roulette. You can play all kind of games. In the normal casino, they have slots as well. Go to mybookie.ag, use promo code next round on that first deposit, get a little extra on us, and then bet anything, anytime, anywhere.
Tyler, appreciate you as always. Another week in the books here for the Meltdown. Rockstar, always really greatly appreciate your contributions. And Laurel, we are not done with you for sure, because we've got a Laurel's list coming out here later today on the channel. Can't wait for that.
Exciting.
It is going to be fun talking about chemistry on screen and which movie couples have it. We will be back with you again Monday live, 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Eastern. Thank you for subscribing here to The Meltdown.